Hey, new parents. And first off, a huge congratulations. You are officially on one of the most incredible journeys of your life. We also know it's a journey that comes with, well, a lot of questions. That's exactly why we put this together, to be a clear, friendly guide for you through your baby's first year. So let's jump in and turn those questions into confidence.
So let's be real for a second. It is totally normal to feel this wild mix of pure joy and, let's be honest, some serious anxiety, right? Every little cough, every cry can feel like a huge mystery you're supposed to solve. Our goal here is to help you cut through that uncertainty and give you some calm, clear answers to those big questions.
Okay, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the power of vaccinations. Then we'll get into tracking all those amazing growth milestones. After that, we are decoding the classic parent mystery of spit up. And finally, we'll get you armed with the really crucial stuff, knowing the red flags so you know exactly when to pick up the phone and call the doctor.
All right, let's kick things off with one of the most powerful tools we have for keeping our little ones healthy. Think of vaccination as more than just a quick shot. It's really the first big, proactive step you take in building a lifetime of health for your child. So how do these things actually work? It's pretty amazing, actually. A vaccine is basically a training session for your baby's immune system. It introduces a super weak, harmless version of a germ, which lets the body practice fighting it. This teaches it to build up the right antibodies, so it's all prepared for the real deal, all without ever having to actually get sick. Pretty smart, right?
And this is where it gets even cooler. When your child gets vaccinated, they aren't just protecting themselves. They're contributing to this amazing thing called community immunity. It's like a collective shield that protects everyone, especially the most vulnerable folks, like tiny newborns or people with weak immune systems who can't get vaccinated themselves. Now, it's also really helpful to know that there are kind of two main buckets for vaccines. You've got the standard program, which covers those essential shots every kid gets. But then there are also service vaccines. These are additional but still highly recommended shots that protect against other serious stuff. The big takeaway here? Just make sure you talk to your doctor about both kinds so your child gets the fullest protection possible.
And remember, this isn't always a one-and-done deal. For some vaccines, the body's memory can kind of fade over time. That's where boosters come in. They're like a little refresher course for the immune system, reminding it how to fight off that disease and making sure that protection is strong for the long haul.
Okay, so we've covered protecting your baby from illnesses. Now, let's switch gears and talk about tracking all that amazing growth. Regular checkups are absolutely your best friend for making sure your little one is on track and hitting all their incredible developmental milestones.
Now, I know a slide like this can seem a little stressful, but it's really not meant to be. Think of these as helpful guideposts, not deadlines. For example, around 4 months, you're hoping to see some good head control. By about a year, you might start hearing those first mama or dada babbles. If you feel like your baby is lagging a bit behind on these, it's never a bad idea to just bring it up with your pediatrician.
Okay, everyone, listen up because this is a really important one. If your baby was able to do something like wave bye-bye or babble, and then they just stopped doing it, that's what's known as regression. This is a big red flag, and it's definitely something you want to call your doctor about right away.
All right, let's dive into a very common, very messy, and very normal part of baby life, spit up. I know it can seem alarming, but for most babies, it's no big deal, and there are totally things we can do to manage it.
So the first step is knowing the difference between normal spit up and actual vomiting. See, normal spit up is just a simple plumbing issue. A baby's stomach is kind of horizontal, and the little muscle that keeps food down is still a bit weak. That's it. Pathological vomiting, on the other hand, is usually a sign of something else going on, and that's when you'd want to get it checked out. So how can you help? Well, a super common reason for spit up is just overfeeding that tiny tummy. Here's a fantastic rule of thumb. Try to aim for about 20 milliliters of milk for every kilogram your baby weighs. So for a 5-kilo baby, that works out to be about 100 milliliters each time they eat. It's a simple little formula that can make a world of difference.
And of course, we have to talk about burping. Here are the 3 classics. You've got the over-the-shoulder, the tummy down on your lap, and the sitting up position. And here's a little pro tip I've heard from pediatricians. That middle one, sitting them up on your lap, is often the easiest and most effective way to get those bubbles out.
And here are a few more quick-fire tips. Try giving smaller feeds but more often. Try to keep them upright for a little while after they eat. And when you're burping, don't just stop after the first one. Keep patting for a few minutes. You'd be surprised how many more bubbles are hiding in there. These little tweaks can bring so much relief. Okay, we've made it to our final and honestly most critical section. This is all about giving you the confidence to know when something isn't just a normal baby thing. This is about knowing when you could stop worrying and just make that call to your doctor.
First up, color. Normal spit up is milky white, maybe a little chunky. But if you ever see vomit that is green, yellow, dark brown, or has any streaks of blood in it, that's your sign to get medical help right away.
Next up, your gut instinct. You know your baby better than anyone. If they seem really weak, if they're super sleepy and hard to wake up, if they're crying and you just can't console them, or if they have a fever, don't wait, it's time to call the doctor.
And finally, let's talk about growth. A baby's #1 job is to grow. If your baby isn't gaining weight well, and a good benchmark is less than 800 grams in that first month, it can be a sign that something's not quite right. It's a really key indicator of their overall health.
So, let's wrap this up. You're going to want to call your doctor if the vomiting is forceful or constant, if spit up is really messing with their sleep, or if you hear any wheezing or see a cough that just won't quit. And honestly, the biggest rule of all is if you are worried about anything, just call. That's exactly what your pediatrician is there for.
And you did it. You now have a solid foundation on some of the biggest health topics for new parents. Knowledge is power, for sure. But when you're a parent, knowledge is also peace of mind. So the only question left is, with this newfound confidence, what amazing things are you going to do on this incredible journey ahead?